I'm knitting a shawl, a little shawlette actually, and it's all garter stitch. It starts with one stitch and it increases down to the middle, and then it decreases back down. So it's basically a little triangular shawl. And there's a couple of little tips and tricks that I want to talk about. Number one is, if you notice, I am knitting on the right side with a metal needle, and on the left side a bamboo needle. And this tells me that in a garter stitch project like this one, it's hard to tell which side is the right side and the wrong side at a glance. And oftentimes I'm just throw my knitting in my knitting bag, and I may be going mobile and not knit in one spot, so I need to right away, or else I'm distracted talking to people, and I need to visually see where I'm at. So I use a Haya interchangeable needles, and that works, and I'm able to do this. Haya has been the brand that I use and I like. It has, for what it was available to me years ago, I started using it, and it has the most versatility in small sizes to very large sizes that I like to use. Now, if you don't have interchangeable needles or have the ability to do this, maybe your interchangeable needles don't come in bamboo and metal, or only bamboo, I don't know. But you can do this little trick even on fixed needles. So this is a fixed needle, and I just use a little blue nail polish to mark one of the needles, so that would work the same way. I would know if my tip of my needle is blue, then I'm on the wrong side. If it's not, then I'm on the right side. So that's tip number one. And then this little pattern that I wrote is an 8-row repeat. Now, there's a lot more to the whole pattern, but this is the little portion that I need to know over here. And before I have it committed to memory, because at the very beginning it's different and I haven't done it before, and so then I tie this little printout that I have to the cast-on tail. And then if I have some other notes to write about the project, like this has an 8-stitch short row that I need to know if I want to repeat it. So that's always with me because it's tied to the end of my project. So I need to know which row I'm on right now. So I get to my row counter, and here is my row counter. It's basically 8-stitch markers tied. I kind of crocheted it together, but you can do it by many different ways. And one side is marked because I am progressing this way. It's important to have one side marked so you know whether you're coming or going. So this stitch marker is on the needle, and I have to come across it. I have other row counters like this one that you need to click every time you knit a row, but sometimes I get to the part where I count the row and suddenly I don't remember, did I click it? Did I not click it? Somebody distracted me, or I get distracted. But this way it's surefire. It's here and I know which stitch I'm doing, which row I'm on. So now I'm on my 7th row. So I know that I'm on row 7, and I need to slip the marker, knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. And I also know it's printed in red, so I also know that I have to decrease right before my, because I'm on the decrease side. So I am now going to knit two together here, two stitches together, and that I accomplish. If it's a little difficult, I push it down to the thin part of the needle, knit two stitches together, slip my marker, and now I'm going to knit three, yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, and knit two. So knit one, two, three, yarn over. I'm short because okay, so what happened was the last this is the second recording I'm making because I forgot to do a yarn over here, so I am now short a stitch. So rather than going back and fussing about it, I am short a stitch here. So instead of knitting two together here, I'm just going to knit and yarn over and knit two. And I knit the back leg. Now, I know that I'm on row 8 because I'm on the bamboo needle. And now I've corrected something that I made a mistake the row before. So, you know, there's a lot of oversights and mistakes, and that can be corrected very easily. So now I need to bind off 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 3, slip my marker, and knit back to the end. Not before. I'm going to use my row counter and know that I'm on row 8. I'm on the very last row in my repeat. Row 8. So on row 8, bind off 4, knit 3, slip marker, knit to the end. So here we go. I'm knitting on the bamboo needle, so I know I'm on the wrong side. And I knit back to the end of the row where I'm going to knit the back leg of the stitch. So there's a front leg and the back leg. So when I get to the end, I'm not going to knit the front leg, I'm going to knit the back leg. Okay. So I knit continental, and I've knit this way all my life, and it works for me. It may not be the most efficient way to knit, but it's comfortable, and it's a hobby, and I do it for comfort and various reasons, but mostly it's like meditation, and then you get a prize at the end. Okay, so here's the last stitch. So I knit the back leg. There we go. What I'm looking for is a nice edge. And by knitting the back leg of the last stitch and slipping the first stitch purlwise gives me that nice edge that I'm looking for. And now I know I'm on the right side of my knitting because I'm using the metal needle. And when I knit over to my stitch row counter over here, I will move it and know that I'm on row 1 of my repeat. So row 1 of my repeat is simply knit to the marker, slip the marker, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2. So by now, because I'm towards the end of this project, I have memorized this little sequence, so I no longer need to have that little cheat sheet, but it's handy if I need it. My short-term memory is not as wonderful as it used to be, and I don't think it's going to get any better as I age. So here we go. I'm coming to the end. I'm into the row counter, and here's my row counter. I have to move it. I can't knit past it. So I now know that this is the last row, and now that I am on the first, so move it to the first and start another sequence of 8 rows. So knitting to the stitch marker, slip stitch marker, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2. Again, the back leg of the stitch. And that's giving me this little, what do you call it, lacy edge to this little project. So tip 1, 2 different needles to signify which side of the knitting you're on, the row counter, having your little cheat sheet tied to your project, and those are the tips I wanted to share on this project. And that is all. Happy knitting. See you next time.